Ah, Splatoon. What a wonderful franchise. Nice music, cool designs, and nuclear war? Huh. Well, that sounds interesting. Let's get into the story of Splatoon, shall we? You see, this is a rhetorical question, because you hold no power here, and I am in control. Let's start with a downer. Yay! Good thing I'm too small of a channel to get monetized in the first place. That allows me to talk about the darker stuff. So, the timeline we care about starts with the birth of some cat called Judd. He was highly sought after since he can judge the winning side of any battle, which he does in the turf wars in the Splatoon games themselves. Then, humanity ended. Whoops. You know how we had 2 world wars in the past? In this world, there were 3 more afterwards. So after a lot of war and stuff, World War V had some moron nuking the South Pole. Congratulations, man, you done goofed. Of course, the South Pole promptly melted, leading to the sea levels rising. And because sea levels rose, humanity went extinct. Nice going. But one guy didn't just take it. To be precise, the professor that owned the aforementioned Judd. Being a professor with tons of intelligence, he put Judd in cryosleep within a machine that can produce clones, and made an AI that would pass on humanity's knowledge to Earth's next dominant species. But he didn't put himself in cryosleep because he only had 1 pod left. And then all humans died. How sad. For 10,000 years, there was no sentient life on Earth. How do we know? Well, I was there. I said no sentient life, after all. It was called the Mollusc Era, by the way. But then, roughly 2,000 years before Splatoon 1, the aquatic life, which appeared due to high sea levels, went to the land. Why did it do it? Well, the water levels receded again and told the aquatic life to get fucked. Sorry, y'all. The first ones were squids, which then turned into inklings. After that, urchins, jellyfish, and others followed. But the most important ones were the octopi. They turned into octarians and octolings. The difference? One gets looted on the internet because of how humanoid they are. Something I might have to add. Inklings and octolings are mostly made out of ink, which is why they can turn into a squid or an octopus. It's also the reason water immediately kills them now. Also, Judd got woke. Don't know how. Inkling societies formed and they worshipped the fucking cat. They were also at peace with the Octarian societies. Psych! The water told him to get fucked once more and rose again. It covered the land and led to the peace breaking because neither Octolings or Inklings could survive the water. Yay! Action! The Great Turf War then started. Damn, that's one sick name! At first, the Octarians almost won because the Inklings just couldn't wake up on time for battle. Same, lol. The Inklings were generally fucked when the Octarians made the great Octo weapons. They only survived by pulling the plug of these weapons from their socket. During the Great Turf War, the Squidbeak Splatoon was established. It consisted of Cray Cuttlefish, aka Cap'n, a Moses Schellendorf, grandfather of Sheldon, who will matter later, Judd, a male and a female no-name. In the end, the Inklings won because they have more limbs. Wait, that sounds racist. They also won because they had superior weapons of mass destruction. Don't worry. Because of losing, the Octarians fled underground and started mind-controlling Octolings so they'd remain loyal, because that could never go wrong. After 60 to 70 years, electricity runs low for the Octarians. Therefore, they start planning something. Time for the boring part. Birth years. Pearl is born 19 years before Splatoon 1. The Squid Sisters, Callie and Marie, are born 17 years before Splatoon 1. Finally, Marina is born 16 years before Splatoon 1. Agents 3, 4, and 8 were all born sometime later. They're all presumed to be around 14 at the time of their debut. To make this whole timeline easier to follow, the ages of the main characters will be shown whenever they change. Now, as for their significance, The Squid Sisters win at a popularity contest at a very young age and immediately start rising to fame. Pearl also took part, but her strong voice broke everything. Sucks to suck, I guess. Eventually, the Squid Sisters got the job at Inkopolis News, where they announced the Splatfest, which are all secretly linked to an ancient human fax machine. No, I don't know how it survived around 12,000 years without any maintenance. Anyway, after over 700 words of script, Jesus Christ, it's time for the story of Splatoon itself. Cap'n Cuttlefish is still kicking and decided to continue spying on the Octarians with his grandchildren, the Squid Sisters, who he made agents for the Squidbeak Splatoon. The Octarians decide to solve their aforementioned little electricity problem by stealing the Great Zapfish from Inkopolis. As an indirect response, Cap'n abducted an Inkling child and decided to make them agent-free on the Squidbeak Splatoon. Cool and normal! Agent 1 and 2, who totally aren't Callie and Marie, help Free save the Zapfish. In the end, DJ Octavio, the big bad, shows himself and battles Free. Oh, and he also kidnapped the grandpa because of dramatic irony. Callie and Marie then show up, play the Calamari Incantation, which is a song etched into the DNA of Inklings and Octolings, somehow, and free the Octolings from their aforementioned mind control, including Marina, who will matter later. The freed Octolings then flee Octo Valley. Free saves the Great Zapfish and Octavio gets put in a snow globe. Yay! Not too long after, it's time for the final Splatfest, aka Final Fest. Callie versus Marie. Marie wins because Splatoon players are cowards! As I just said, Marina got freed from a mind control and fled from Octo Valley. Eventually, she gets to Inkopolis and meets Pearl during her lackluster career, slowly going down the shitter. It's not going well because her voice is just so powerful that nobody can make music with it. However, Marina wants to do so. Pearl agrees after hearing the Ebb and Flow demo Marina made. The song then became a smash hit! Hooray! While this one duo of definitely not lesbians, I swear they're just friends, trademark, is having a good time, the duo of sisters, no wait, they're actually cousins, trademark, got more fame through their solos and started drifting apart. Mary got a late night talk show and started coming home late when Callie was already asleep. Callie herself, however, made more music and got her own talk shows. Their schedules just stopped lining up, sadly. Mary eventually got anxious whether Callie was salty over losing. However, when Callie got woken up by a call that informed her that her show got delayed, she still immediately wanted to hang out with Mary. However, she found her cousin eating with Krusty Sean. Because of that, she just left. At least they met the next morning as Mary came back while Callie was making breakfast. As they then decide to hang out, they realize that their last meeting with their grandpa, Cap'n, has been quite a while ago. But being assholes, they don't do anything about it. They want to go back home to Calamari County thinking he wouldn't be in danger. Mary packed her things, but Callie was busy. So she went alone, got asked about Callie's whereabouts by her own parents, and then realized she had no clue. So she waited for Callie at a train station, but her cousin never came. She didn't even answer her phone. Therefore, Mary cut the trip short and went back to Inkopolis to look for Callie, but she couldn't find any signs of her. On her search, she comes back to Octo Valley and sees that the snow globe that held Octavio broke. In fact, the Great Zapfish went missing again too! Noticing the obvious pattern, she looks for a new recruit. But since Inkopolis is now empty, she looks around in Inkopolis Square instead while keeping a low profile due to her celebrity status. Anyway, time for a 2-year time skip. See you later! Before 2's story itself, we start with this guy called Mr. Grizz, who opens a shady corporation called Grizzco. The company hires Inklings to fight this freshly discovered species called the Salmonids and get their eggs. Here's some fun facts about the Salmonids. They migrate every 70 years. Contact with Salmonids without permission is illegal and it's unclear if Grizzco has that permission. Their culture worships death and eating themselves. In exchange for their power eggs, the Octarians gave them weapons. Isn't biology fun? Anyways, back to the main plot. And with main plot, I mean rehash of the first game. Marie finally finds an inkling in a couple of squares she thinks is good and calls them Agent 4 because she is no more creative than her grandpa. Marie and Sheldon aid 4 throughout the entirety of Octo Canyon. How is it different from Octo Valley, you ask? Duh! It's that one is called Octo Valley and the other is called Octo Canyon. 4's main enemies are, again, mind-controlled Octolings, with the difference that they are wearing hypno shades instead of those goggles the ones in the first game wore. Something of note is that in every sector, a mysterious voice, who is most definitely not Callie, calls you. Yes, they're even rehashing the part of one where they act like it's not completely obvious that it's one of the fucking Squid Sisters. In the end, 4 battles Octavio, who turns out to have hypnotized Callie with the same hypno shades and, again, stolen the Great Zapfish to power his disco robot. Luckily, Mary and Sheldon come by and she uses her hero charger and the low tide ink, which apparently helps with memory loss and recovery, to get those icky hypno shades off of Callie. Mary then hijacks the Octarian speakers and plays a new remix of Calamari Incantation to get Callie back to her senses. Of course, this story also ends with Octavio trapped in the snow globe. Honestly, besides 4 joining in, this campaign was pointless. And I didn't even see them in the trailer for Splatoon 3, so it might have all been for nothing. Can you tell I don't like the story? Anyways, over to the DLC campaign, Octo Expansion, which runs concurrently with Hero Mode. Cap and Cuttlefish and Agent 3, who weren't present in the main game, meet a lone Octoling that they, of course, immediately battle. Said battle gets interrupted by another party, which attacks and catches them all. Afterwards, Cap'n and the Octoling wake up next to each other and decide to seek free, after some antagonism from the old man, but let's ignore that. They get out of the first chamber and meet a telephone that promises to guide them to the so-called Promised Land, probably in Copolis. It gives them a CQ-80 device, which allows them to travel through the deep sea metro, view the collected mem cakes as well as the chat logs, and, change 8's appearance. The conversation with the telephone ends in it calling the Octoling Subject 10,008, which Cap'n abbreviates to Agent 8 or just 8. They then travel to the first station by train, in which they meet an intelligent sea cucumber called, well, Sea Cucumber, who is friendly enough to explain the aforementioned CQ-80 device to 8 and Cap'n. With the device, they somehow manage to contact the members of Off the Hook, Marina and Pearl, the latter of which seems to have rap battled Cap'n in the past. Sick! Oh yeah, the 2 want to help our heroes get out of the metro. 8 goes through the metro and collects a mem cake after every test site. What are mem cakes? I'm glad you asked. Apparently they are physical manifestations of 8's lost memories. No, I'm not kidding. It's almost as if Tetsuya Nomura wrote this, I swear to God. Oh yeah, 8 lost their memories while they were unconscious after the fight with 3. I forgot to mention that before. Shit, I also forgot to mention the fangs. Basically, the telephone told Cap'n and 8 to get all 4 of them. Luckily, they eventually do so. While they get back to the telephone, Cap'n gets concerned about 3, but that gets cut short when it combines the fangs into a blender lookalike that'll supposedly take them to the Promised Land. It does not take them to the Promised Land. Once they're inside, it turns out that it actually is a blender and it tries to blend them. Marina tries to shut it down, but it doesn't work, so she sends out a distress signal. Then, 3 comes by, breaks through the ceiling, knocks over the telephone and saves Cap'n and 8, and then gets knocked out. Cap'n wants to keep watch over 3, so 8 goes through the new hole in the ceiling on their own, entering a huge structure with loads of tests. After completing a bunch of them, they meet a sanitized Agent 3 who bound up Cap'n, leading to the 2 agents fighting. Since 8 is the player character, they win. To celebrate their victory, they scale a nearby ladder and get to the surface. Cap'n, 3, and 8 immediately get picked up by Pearl and Marina with a helicopter. Naturally, Cap'n and Pearl immediately rap battle again for old time's sake. Oh, hey, remember this huge structure with loads of tests I mentioned? Yeah, it's built like a human, and it suddenly rises out of the water. Wow. It's called the Nils statue, by the way. The telephone commands it and also reveals its own name. Tartar. Tartar was originally built by the professor that owned Judd to pass on humanity's knowledge to the next prevalent species on the planet after its extinction. It's that AI I mentioned. Tartar, however, decided to make a primordial ooze out of the test subjects that completed his tests, presumably by blending them. With that ooze, he wants to sanitize the world, ew, and make the perfect life form to pass his knowledge onto. He refuses to pick the Octolings or Inklings because of their trivial wars. Listen mate, it was a good fucking tuna sandwich, don't fucking judge them! Luckily for our group, Marina finds out that the Neil statue is solar charged and they gotta simply stop it from charging within 3 minutes to stop the destruction of the world. That's quite convenient as it allows them to fight it the same way they fight everything else, by covering it in ink. To make that easier, Marina sends out hyper bombs that cover a lot of ground with ink once they're hit towards it. 8 fully covers the statue, but it still tries to fire. Luckily, again, Pearl has a plan. Remember how her strong voice broke everything at that contest so many years ago? Yeah. Imagine that with a megaphone making it even louder. That's what happened when she got out the currently illegal due to anti-war protests killer whale and used that voice to booyah the statue into oblivion while it tries to fire. In the end, the whole group, both of Hero Mode and Octo Expansion, reunites, happily ever after. As for what happens after the Octo Expansion, it's not much. Pearl starts a kind of fucked up Splatfest. The theme? Squid versus Octopus. Yeah, she started the fucking race war. What the fuck, Pearl? Or maybe she was just talking about taste. She clearly likes Octo Pie, if you know what I mean. But here's the way more important Final Fest theme. Chaos versus Order. Naturally, Pearl is Chaos and Marina is Order. After some shit talking, Pearl invokes the Splatfest Law Article 4, which says that the loser has to live in the winner's world. Seriously, what the fuck, Pearl? This entire thing makes Marina scared that Off the Hook will break apart. In the end, Chaos wins and Pearl declares that Off the Hook will break into more music genres. So yeah, Chaos won and the world will be formed after that, closing the curtain on Splatoon 2. Well, except for the promotional Splatfests for Mario and Smash Bros, but we don't talk about Splatfests after the Final Fest. They're called Final Fests for a reason, damn it! Alright, that's it for the summary of what happened so far, but we're not done yet. How about a thought experiment? What could happen in the future? First, what do we know about Splatoon 3? I believe there's another 2-year time skip between it and 2, and we are now in a brand new location, Splatsville, which is located in the Splatlands and is generally called the City of Chaos. Considering the results of the Final Fest, its sudden spike in popularity is understandable. With how fast the idol industry moves in Splatoon, there'll probably be another new main idol group we'll see. That doesn't mean the old ones won't drop again, as the Squid Sisters have been revealed to come back, just like Agent 3 and Cap'n. Except 3 is now the captain after the old one retired, so I guess he's just Craig now? I'll still call him Cap'n. As for 4, 8 and Off the Hook, nothing is known about them. Next, there's a trailer named Return of the Mammalians, giving us the name of the next main antagonist. Get it? It's a mix between mammal and aliens? Okay, I'll stop. Since there's now peace between Inklings and Octolings, the Octarians would need to be replaced as the villains. Or so we thought, as they appear to be now covered in fur. That's totally normal, probably. In fact, some of the environment is now also covered in fur. And goo. Luckily, your friendly Salmonid can take care of it. Wait, friendly Salmonid? Yeah, you have one now. Let's see where this goes. But you wanna know what's still the same? The fucking Zapfishes need to be found in the levels again. What joy! Okay, we laid out what we know, now let's do something with it. And with something, I don't mean theorize. I mean make the wildest fanfic you can fucking imagine based on what you know. Let's do this. First, mammalians. Like I said, the name is a mix of mammal and aliens. The implications are obvious. Before total extinction, some mammals went to space and are now coming back, maybe because of Tartar. There's also a chance they've been sent there by Judd's owner, as he's the only human that seems to matter in this goddamn franchise. Second, The returning characters. The Splatoon 1 gang is reunited now, and since they've been confirmed to return, I presume they'll play a major role in the main campaign. Off the Hook, 4 and 8 will probably come into play in a DLC campaign, or their role in the hero mode is meant to be a secret for now. If they are in a DLC story, its plot will probably be very separate from the mammalians. Third, the goo. If you touch it, you'll get covered in fur, so it's definitely connected to the mammalians. But do you remember another time goo came up in Splatoon? That's right, Tartar and his perfect life form Juice. If you haven't guessed it yet, I believe Octo Expansion will play into the story. Cap'n and Free returning just makes it even more likely. Fourth, the Salmonid. Salmonids were nothing but enemies in Splatoon 2's Salmon Run, yet now they're tame enough to be pets. You think Grizzco has something to do with it? Mr. Grizz was played up to be pretty sketchy after all. Fifth, the Zapfish. I'm not even gonna bother. Let's just say they're a power source for some weapon and it's good enough. So, let's sum up what might happen. Keep in mind, this is just me messing around. Before his defeat, Tartar supposedly sends out a signal towards the last surviving mammals, but since they're so far away in space, it takes them 2 years to reach the Earth. Once they arrive, they take all of Tartar's primordial ooze and start their own plan. Their first target will be the Splatlands because, despite their new popularity, they're still relatively empty, giving them a clear view on what they're doing, even from space. While they traveled for 2 years, Grizz decides to extend his empire by not just hunting Salmonids, but also taming and selling them as pets, something that goes under the radar of our main characters for now. Once the story mode starts, people realize that the mammalians appeared and that they now rework Tartar's goo to turn everything it touches into a mammal, severely fucking with the rules of nature and harming whoever gets transformed. They also steal the Zapfish because they're almost out of electricity in space. The Squidbeak Splatoon gets Agent 5, a random person with a Salmonid pet, to help. And with help, I mean sick their Salmonid on the goo. In a climactic showdown, the mammalians get defeated, while yet another version of Calamari Incantation plays, except that this time there's human lyrics, because mammals. As for the missing half of the Squidbeak Splatoon, in a DLC story, 4, 8, Pearl and Marie are on a mission to stop DJ Octavio from summoning the next threat, the Sharks. As for building it up beforehand, I have no clue how to. And that's it! Thanks for watching this little video about the past, present, and potential future of the Splatoon timeline. I've always wanted to start making YouTube videos, and after working on the script for a while, I'm glad that I finally got a first video out. Trust me, I made a lot of attempts to start somewhere, so I'm just happy I finally did it. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching, and feel free to tune in next time, should I ever make a video again.